Hey seniors, welcome to part 2 of our 12th grade counseling lesson. Here in part 2, we'll cover college basics. That's application types, application processes, as well as discuss paying for college, all things financial aid. So that's scholarships, grants, loans, local and state funding, as well as federal funding. So let's dive on in and talk college basics. Here, we'll just provide an overview to college and include some common terminology and just generic or general steps a student would take in order to apply to college. So let's get an understanding of the various college application types. So there's early decision and early action. It's important to know the difference between the two. With early decision, think of it as definite. It's binding. You cannot apply early decision to other colleges, but you can apply regular decision. Just know, if accepted for early decision, you must attend. In contrast, there's early action. That's non-binding. A student can apply early to other colleges and can apply regular decision as well. You'll just receive your admission decision before regular decision deadlines. Then there's rolling admission. So this is just open admission. Decisions are given throughout the year in the order in which they're received. And that process takes place with the college until the limit has been reached by that respective institution. And then there's regular decision. So that's just your standard deadline date established by the school with no priority or early associated with it. And then the priority deadline. So it's a little similar to rolling admissions, but with priority consideration given to financial aid, housing, etc., are offered to these types of applicants. Given this, we do want to point out that not every college or university will offer all of these application types. So it's important that you as a student know the respective deadlines for each of the application types and determine which application deadline you're going to adhere to. So now let's talk about the steps to the college process. I do want to reiterate that this is just a general overview of the steps that a senior would take to apply to college. Know that every college or university will request different items for you to complete as the applicant for admission. So knowing what each specific school requires of you is necessary. But again, let's talk big picture. So 1, you'll want to determine what college you're applying to and know their deadline. After that, figure out the application type. So will you be applying directly to the institution? Will you be applying through Common App, Common Black College App? There's a plethora of platforms in which an applicant can apply from. Then you'll want to complete that online application. So it might be your profile. Let's say the Common App, you're going to complete one profile, and that profile will be used to apply to multiple schools. But if it's direct to institution, you'll need to go to each school's website and apply there. After that, you'll pay your application fees. Those can range. Sometimes they're free. In the state of Georgia, there's actually National Apply to College Month. Typically happens in November. During that time, many of our colleges and universities within the state will waive their application fees, meaning you can apply for $0 and hope to get an admission decision that's favorable to you. But again, those application fees can be as little as $20, $25 and range all the way up to $100. So choose wisely and where it is that you're applying. After that, you'll want to be sure to send your test scores, again, directly from those testing sites. So it's either College Board or ACT, as we here at Sprayberry High School cannot send your test scores. So again, be sure to go into your account, whether it be College Board or ACT, and have your test scores sent directly to those colleges or universities in which you're applying to. And then after that, you'll want to be sure to log into Naviance, which is again our delivery system, so that you can send your official high school transcript and or obtain any teacher or counselor letters of recommendation. the most important thing, you all, please remember, as the senior student, as the applicant, you all need to be tracking your admission statuses directly from the institution's websites. So staying abreast to what's still outstanding, what perhaps you still need to turn in, what documents you still need to gather, please keep that in mind. And I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about college campus tours. We highly recommend that you take those college campus tours. Most of them are free, if not all. It's actually rare that you would pay to take a campus tour. You can book this through those campus either admission websites or visitor centers, but they're typically scheduled online directly from the college or university's website. And again, it gives you an idea of what it's like on campus. You'll be able to speak with admission representatives face to face. You'll be able to see what student life is like and a host of other things that are really, really, really going to be beneficial to you determining where it is you want to spend your undergraduate years. So many of you might have heard about the Georgia Match Program. This was an initiative rolled out last school year for all high school students. And the way it works is it's really a simple way for you as a high school senior to know where you are eligible for admission here in the state of Georgia based on your high school calculated HOPE GPA through 11th grade. So know that the Georgia Match Program works with public and private high schools in Georgia only. So if you have a friend in another state, they're not going to be familiar with the Georgia Match Program. However, use it to your advantage. With Georgia Match, again, you can see what colleges and universities in the state of Georgia that you would be eligible for admission for. Now, how do you see what colleges? Simply go to your Georgia Futures student dashboard. That website is GAFutures, FUTURES.org. If you don't have an account, create one, folks. Creating an account is very, very simple. Simply go to the top, press create account, and follow the prompts and make sure that you list Sprayberry High School as your school of origin. One thing to point out with this Georgia Match Program is that this is simply a list of colleges and universities within the state in which you would be eligible to apply to. This list is not an acceptance letter for any one school, so you still must apply to that school. But again, just know that if you apply, your chances of getting in are a match. So as we wrap up the college basics section, we do want to provide you with a list of helpful websites for your senior year. So first is the ACT. That's the testing agency in which you will sit for and take the ACT exam, which is used for college admissions. Thereafter, it's Big Future. This is an auxiliary of the College Board. There's career inventories, college major searches, college searches, scholarships, and so much more. Of course, then is our Cobb County School District website. From there, you can quickly and easily access Naviance. And then next is the Common App and the Common Black College app. Both are application portals in which you can create one profile and apply to a multitude of colleges and universities. Then there's FAFSA. FAFSA is the free application for federal student aid. Word has it, FAFSA will be opening on December 1st of 2024. Should that date change, we'll be sure to let you know, but in the immediate, check for yourself. Head on over to studentaid.gov to figure out when the application opens. And then Georgia Futures, local to us here in the state of Georgia, where one can explore their college match schools, see their HOPE GPA, and find a ton of other resources related to HOPE, Zell Miller, college planning, and even dual enrollment. And last but not least is the SAT website, which is collegeboard.org. So again, when needing to sit for the SAT exam, one will go to collegeboard.org and register to test. That is also where you will send your official test scores, given that we here at the local high school do not have access to send those scores. So now let's talk money, paying for college, or what people consider financial aid. Know that financial aid is said to be the overarching umbrella to paying for college. There are various types of financial aid and ways to pay for college at both the local and federal levels, and often include scholarships, loans, grants, and even work study programs, in which we'll get into a little later on. Just know, scholarships and grants do not have to be repaid. Those are gifts to you based on merit, athleticism, etc. Loans, on the other hand, do have to be repaid and typically include the amount borrowed plus interest, which can end up being pretty pricey. But let's talk about these student grants really quick. So federal student grants, or Pell Grants is what it's often referred to, are awarded to undergraduate students who have exceptional financial need and who have not earned a bachelor's or graduate degree. Qualifying for this federal student loan grant, for this federal Pell Grant requires you to have completed the FAFSA. In similar fashion, there's the Federal Work Study Program. That provides part-time jobs for undergraduate and graduate students with financial need, allowing them to earn money to pay for some of their education expenses. So the program encourages community service work and work related to the student's course of study. However, there are exceptions to the places of employment. So diving in a little deeper and talking specifically about scholarships. There are a number of different types of scholarships. Those can be academic scholarships, community scholarships, athletic, extracurricular, hobbies, employers, military, need-based. The list goes on and on and on. But the great thing about scholarships is that, again, these funds do not have to be repaid. There are varying deadlines, so it is important that you pay attention to when they are and be sure to apply by the deadline. I will just point out that finding scholarships to apply to can really be viewed as a part-time job, folks. A lot of money can come from it, so definitely stay at it and apply if you meet the applicant criteria. And of course, if the deadline has not passed, but definitely know that it can be very, very time consuming because, at the end of the day, folks aren't just giving away free money that easy. But again, if you stick with it, you stay at it, again, treat it like a part-time job. Apply to multiple scholarships because they are out there and the money adds up. So now that you're like, okay, I know I need to apply, where do I go? How do I find these scholarships? So we try to help in putting the scholarship search engines in one centralized place so you're not just scouring the internet clicking various links. Naviance is probably going to be your best bet to start off. You'll go under the colleges header, followed by scholarships and money. Georgia Futures is also a great resource. If you head under the federal aid tab, look under scholarship search. There are even apps. So seniors, if you're on your phone and you are just scrolling through social media, take a few moments, download some apps that speak directly to scholarships for college. Scholly is one. Please, it's in the App Store. It's in Google Play. We'd encourage you to download those. They're free. And again, in your downtime, apply to scholarships. And then, of course, college and university financial aid websites do have direct scholarship applications where you can apply. And then there's a plethora of online search engines. So Going Merry, FastWeb, Big Future, College Board, just a few to help you get started in the immediate. And note, y'all, a scholarship and a sweepstakes are not the same thing. If it's a little too easy, it might be too good to be true. So again, scholarships, more than likely, you're going to have to put a little more effort into it, whether that be an essay writing or a small paragraph. Whereas a sweepstakes, you just put your name in a hat and hope the best when the ball rolls and they pick a winner. So now let's talk FAFSA. Again, what is FAFSA? FAFSA is the free application for federal student aid. I repeat, free application. So given that, one should never ever pay to complete this application. It's an online application and it's completed by students who want the opportunity to receive federal funding to pay for college. Again, that includes the Pell Grant as well as student loans. This application is completed on an annual basis and determines how much money one's family would be able to contribute to the student's cost of attending college. If I'm not mistaken, December 1st was the original deadline, was the original opening date for the 25-26 FAFSA. Perhaps it could be moved up to October 1st. So again, I would just really encourage all of our seniors and their families to check with the Federal Student Aid website to see when that opening date for the FAFSA truly will be for this school year. I will point out that FAFSA requires federal tax information from the student's family for the application completion or submission. And one good thing about FAFSA, so while you do send it to the respective college or university that you're applying to and you're seeking funding from, this application can also be used to satisfy the request to receive state funding. And that's for our Hope and Zell Miller scholarships, Hope and Zell Miller grants, as well as the Hope Career Grant. So it's nice in that you're feeding two birds with one seed, given this can satisfy the college and their funding, as well as the state of Georgia and its Hope and Zell Miller funding. Speaking of the Hope and Zell Miller program, let's talk about the Hope and Zell Miller scholarships. So these are state aid programs exclusive to the state of Georgia and specified by the University Systems of Georgia colleges and universities. There are some basic eligibility requirements, and these are all regulated by the Georgia Student Finance Commission, which we often refer to as just GSFC. So with the Hope Scholarship, the basic eligibility requirements: graduate from high school with a minimum 3.0 Hope GPA, earn a minimum of 4 full rigor credits, and be a U.S. citizen or non-citizen or eligible non-citizen. Please know, these eligibility requirements can change. So it's vitally important that you as a student frequent the Georgia Futures website and check to make sure that you are adhering to these basic eligibility requirements. Moving along to the Zell Miller Scholarship. Graduate with a minimum 3.7 calculated Hope GPA. And again, students, know that your Hope GPA is not the same GPA that is listed on your official Cobb County School District Sprayberry High School transcript. It is a different number, so you are encouraged to go to your Georgia Futures account and view your Hope GPA there. Going back to the eligibility requirements, you must earn a minimum of 4 full rigor credits from the academic rigor course list. Being a Sprayberry student, oftentimes you get those academic rigor courses by the time you finish up your sophomore or junior year. So there's really no worry in that most, if not all, students earn those 4 minimum rigor credits from simply just graduating from our school. Please note, with the Zell Miller Scholarship, one must earn a qualifying test score on a single administration of the ACT or SAT prior to high school graduation. I point out single administration because there is no super scoring when it comes to Zell Miller eligibility criteria for those exams. The current test score requirements are a minimum of 1,200 on the SAT or a composite score of a 25 on the ACT. It's very important to note that the composite ACT scores, as of the most recent coordinates guide published by the College Board and ACT each January 1. So this is already established. The ACT score requirement can change every year, and that equivalent is posted by January 15th each year for the upcoming award/school year. So this is what it is right now. We'll see what happens come the start of the new year in 2025. And last thing about the Hope and Zell Miller Scholarship is the schools in which these funds apply to. They can be 4-year schools with some exceptions to 2 years, but typically these are for your in-state 4-year universities and colleges. Now let's talk about the Hope and Zell Miller grants. These are typically specific to our TCSG colleges and select USG universities. So that's our Technical College System of Georgia colleges, and again, select University System of Georgia universities. There are basic eligibility requirements, and again, these are regulated by the Georgia Student Finance Commission. So with the Hope Grant, 1, no high school GPA minimum is required. However, you must meet U.S. citizenship or eligible non-citizen requirements. And the Hope Grant is available to residents, again, who are working towards a certificate or diploma at an eligible college or university within Georgia. Then look into the Hope Career Grant. So this is for qualified students who enroll in select majors specifically aligned with industries in which there are more jobs available than there are skilled workers to fill them. So these industries have been identified as strategically important to the state's economic growth. And last but not least is a Zell Miller Grant. So this is available to Georgia residents who, again, are working towards a certificate or diploma at any TCSG school or USG institution. And the same thing applies. No high school GPA minimum, must be U.S. citizen or eligible non-citizen. And there is a caveat in that a minimum 3.5 post-secondary calculated Hope GPA at the end of each term is required in order to maintain eligibility. So while there's no high school GPA needed to get the Zell Miller Grant out of high school, once you are at the respective college or university, one must keep a minimum of 3.5 as calculated by the Georgia Student Finance Commission. So here are just a few Hope Program frequently asked questions. The first, how do you apply for Hope or Zell Miller? 2 ways, folks. You can complete the FAFSA annually or complete the GSF app, which is located on the Georgia Futures website and is valid for 10 years. I would probably recommend the GSF app because it's a shorter application and it's valid for longer. But that doesn't negate the fact that completing the FAFSA is also recommended to explore any federal funding that you might be eligible for. Another question we get, when's the application deadline? So ultimately, when applying for Hope, the last day of the school term or when a student's withdrawal date, whichever occurs first, is typically the application deadline. But any additional college-specific application and deadline requirements may be required, so definitely check with your post-secondary institution. And what is my Hope GPA? We often get that question, and it's viewable from the Hope GPA tab from logging into your Georgia Futures profile. So again, www.gafutures.org. And remember, you've got multiple GPAs. There's the Cobb County weighted GPA, the Cobb County unweighted GPA, and then there is your Hope GPA, which is different from both of those. We recommend that you frequent the Georgia Futures website for the most up-to-date and official information about the Hope program, as it is ever changing. And y'all, please note, you will not be able to see your HOPE GPA or receive any state funding from the HOPE program without having your social security number on file here with us in our Cobb County Student Record System. So what does that mean for you? Simply bring in your social security card to the counseling office where we can input your social security number into our computer database that is then pulled by the Georgia Student Finance Commission. It's not our rule at Sprayberry. It's not a Cobb County rule. It is the state of Georgia rule when it comes to the HOPE program. They are not awarding any funding to any student who that they cannot identify. So again, it's imperative that your social security number is on file with our student management or student record system in order for you to receive the HOPE and Zell-Miller funding and ultimately to see your HOPE GPA from your Georgia Futures account. And know that we must see the card. Just simply telling us the number won't work because again, the HOPE program is a statewide program. And so we have to have proof that the card is actually there and the numbers are what you say that they are. So please, 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 if your social security number and card is not on file with us here at the school, please be sure to bring that by the counseling office so we can quickly rectify that for you and get you all the money that you deserve. And as we come to the conclusion of this part 2, I do want to point out the bridge law. So the bridge law is a survey that every single senior takes before graduation. For our December grads, this survey is made available to you in November. And for my May grads, this survey is made available to you in March of 2025. It's quickly and easily found in your Naviance account. And again, just provides us with what your post-secondary plans are. And I can't stress it enough that this is required to be completed by every senior before graduation. So it's important to complete it when available. Don't wait till the last minute. We don't want this to be the thing that hangs you up for graduation. So knock out your senior survey when the time comes and you hear about it. And we thank you in advance for it. And with that, we have come to the end of part 2 of our 12th grade counseling lesson. We hope that you have a great senior year and want to leave you with this quote. Do not go where the path may lead. Go instead where there is no path and leave a trail. Go Jackets.